Hi, welcome back to the breadboard. This is part 2 of 2 parts where I am reviewing the HeimVision HM311 outside security camera. It's a low-cost camera from HeimVision that they kindly sent me for review and to play with. So in the first video we looked at the actual hardware and the official application, the mobile app that you would use to use the camera. In this part of the video, we're going to look at BlueIris and some other applications that allow you to use the camera without having to use the cloud, which for me is a more important feature that you can do that. The video is going to start straight into it because originally it was a 1 hour and 10 minute video, but I broke it in the middle. So this video is going to just carry on as if it was right after the other video. So let's get into it. So, okay, that's done with the camera view there. Let's move to the connection with other applications. So while I'm on the cell phone still, one of the things I wanted to try with this was the ONVIF camera application, which you can download for free. There's a free version and a paid version. It's called ONVIF. And it allows you, it's kind of like a free, there's a pro version, but there's a free version as well, which is what I've got here. And if I press the plus, I can scan for devices, and it's found one that it hadn't found before. It's an ONVIF device. Sorry, wrong one. But I'll go to discovered, and it should tell me about this device here. I think it's going to be this one. It says it's non-ONVIF, but it actually is. Now the setup, you just press, these cameras, they have a default password of admin. They have a default username of admin and no password. I'm trying to work with HeimVision to see if there's a way of changing that password, but I haven't discovered it yet. So here it's telling us a little bit about the camera. Looks like the speaker is turned on again. One moment. I think the other application may have sent a turn on the speaker command. There we go. Back to this. All right. So it discovered this on IP address 1.135. I put in the password. It's got 2 streams. The one it's looking at right now is the stream 0, which is a 1280 by 720. So that's a 720p stream. The other stream that the camera is supporting is a 2304 by 1296. That's the 3 megapixel. It's kind of very close to a 2K camera, slightly more, I think. So we'll pick the higher one. Why not? It doesn't support snapshots, as you can see with. Just turned on the speaker again. So obviously the speaker turning on and off is definitely supported by the ONVIF implementation in the camera, because this is literally turning it on and off. Yeah, the internal model that this is seeing, I said HeimVision or something before. It's I+ is the manufacturer, and the model is I+_dev. I've seen a lot of overseas cameras that actually are based on this firmware and potentially some of the hardware. And I'm going to turn that off again because it's amusing but annoying. So even in here, you can give it a camera name for the ONVIF software. It tells you the snapshot URL, which is not actually supported. That failed when it tried to use it. The web URI is in here. The camera does support RTSP as well as ONVIF, and I've tried both of those. It doesn't have everything supported. For instance, within ONVIF, you can't turn on and off the IR or the floodlights easily. But as you saw just a moment ago, I was able to turn it on and off from within the application on the phone, which means there is technically a way to do it. I just got to figure out what that is. So we can say test and see what that comes up with. So video streaming success, congratulations, the video works, etc., etc. ONVIF services on port 80, RTSP on port 554. Let's go back now. We save that configuration, and now here is the camera view. So So I'll open that up. Oh, different software, different implementations. So now we have that same camera view, but talking directly to ONVIF or on my cell phone. So no cloud is now involved in this. The other thing which is more impressive, well, not impressive, but more useful for anybody wanting to set up a personal home security network would be to have it work with an application on a PC or a Linux device or something like that. And there are numerous ones. The one I recently got is called BlueIris. It's just over $100 Canadian, which is pretty reasonable, and it supports 64 cameras. And you can set up schedules, you can set up events, it will monitor for movement. You can hook it into an AI for detecting humans versus cars versus different kinds of animals and things. I haven't played with that yet, but what I will do is I will fire up the application and we'll see if we can detect this camera and then bring it into the fold. So let's I don't know if you can do it from the website or not, but let's go to screen capture here and we'll bring up the web app. All right, so this is my live view. This is BlueIris looking at the camera that's looking at the backyard right now. This is a snowball camera. It's a very economical one from Banggood that I got quite a while ago. It's only 1080p. It's not 3 megapixel or anything like that. And then this one over the right here is actually my camera that would normally be looking at my 3D printer. It's just a little Raspberry Pi. So can I add cameras in here is the question. No, doesn't look like I can. So what I'm going to do is fire up my other view, my camcorder, and I'm just going to point it at the screen of the BlueIris monitor. Okay, this is BlueIris. It's still running in a 15-day evaluation period, although I have bought a license for it now. I just haven't put the key in. Not that that makes any difference because it's still going to work quite happily. So what we do here is trying to find what screen I'm looking at the wrong screen. I'm not going to be looking at the camera. Let me just turn me off. That's that. There we go. Okay. What we do here is, this is currently looking at the camera in the back. Here's a whole bunch of events that it's found and snapshotted on. Here's when I went outside a little earlier. You can actually just double click on, oh, that one's still, there we go. So you can see the little boxes it's put around me because I went out back there to get my mobile phone connection because I was in the basement and that wasn't working. So you can see it'll record the event for a certain period and put boxes around you to show what things are moving, if that's what you want. Anyway, let's just get out of that. Okay, back to normal view. This is not a review of BlueIris, so I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of details here. So you click at the top on BlueIris, click on Add New Camera, and now this, so I'm going to call this, I call it I'll call it HV2, full name, HeimVision 2, and then for a short name, I'll call it just HV2, connected through network IP, will enable audio, motion detection, direct-to-disc recording. This is all features for another video, but I'm just going to turn them on anyway. All right, so now here, you can either type in an IP address, which we do know, but let's just pretend I don't. I'm letting it just run with HTTP. Make is a generic ONVIF, and model would be an RTSP. We just leave those alone, all the port defaults and everything else. We just say find/inspect. If you put in an IP address, it would just inspect the one you've got and give you the details. If you don't, then it's going to try and find one on your network. So theoretically, it should find the one we have sitting here. Now, it may not be finding it because I've already connected it to some other device. So let me just figure the IP address again a second. So 1.135. So let's just cancel that. And we'll put in here 192.168.1.135. And now if we hit inspect, it should find, there we go, all sorts of details. So if we go back up and look at what it found, found port 80 open for HTTP. It found its date time setting, which all is correct. Manufacturer I+, I+_dev is the model, firmware version. It's got RTSP profiles. It shows AV0, which is actually the low SD version. AV1 is the HD version. But it's showing me that the AV0 is there. Got audio output. It has device I/O services, which is the audio output. And that's all it's found on discovery there. So we'll close that. You can see here it's already now put in the AV0. I'm just going to change that to AV1 because that's the HD version of the connection. And we'll just say OK. So we'll just say OK. And it should now start streaming, there we go, from the camera. And if I pick it up, I can point it at its own camera. So that's that working now quite happily with BlueIris. And the benefit of that is there is no cloud involved, no internet, no nothing. And BlueIris will let you save everything to the local file storage of the BlueIris server if that's what you want. So even though this camera is sold as a cloud camera and it's quite inexpensive, you can, if you need it, and if you don't have the expertise to set up your own, there we go, if you don't have your expertise to set up your own local server, you'd need to dedicate at least a part of a PC for it, because the software has to run on that PC. And you'd want something like a high-end i3, i7, i5 or something like that, especially if you got a lot of cameras. If you just got one camera, you can get away with a very low-level PC for it. If you don't have the expertise to do all of that, then you can just sign up for the cloud services. Now, I don't know how much that is. Let me just have a quick look. Okay, so let's bring up a web page. So, some discounts right now, but let's see if it tells us cloud supported devices. I have the HeimVision HM311, which doesn't look like it's on that list yet, but I'm sure it's going to be able to support it. So here we go. Let's just get rid of that. So bronze plan is $20 for 3 months. The most expensive one, $134 a year, which is, again, it's still not hugely expensive. You're getting 24/7 live view, cloud playback, unlimited storage, live sharing, all-day recording, 30-day loop recording. Okay, anyway, so that's where you would just go to HeimVision.com and you can sign up for the cloud services for your camera. HeimVision also has a number of other devices, things like a sunrise alarm clock, music alarm clock. We went through the different cameras there. They have an affiliate service, and you can download what? What can you download? Let's have a look. Manuals for all of the different cameras and files. So Easy Cloud Mac, Pixel Plus, a player, HeimVision 203 PDF. So I'm not sure what Easy Cloud is. Oh, okay, it just went straight to download. Obviously something to do with managing the cloud services. So, okay, so the camera itself, it looks pretty well built. They provided all of the, let's get to a better view overhead. That tapping you just heard was motion detection out back. So the camera, it's a nice solid metal build. It feels pretty solid. They seem to have taken care of most things as far as water ingress and stuff like that, because this thing is going to be going outside. You do have an adjustable tilt and swivel mechanism so that you can position your camera to point at what you want. Camera doesn't have zoom, but this is only a $39.99 currently US dollars, so a pretty low cost camera, normally $54. If you look on Amazon, I'll provide the links in the description, you'll get prices for your local currency. Oh, you know what, that might actually be me triggering that. Oh, on HeimVision 2, which is this local camera. Okay, so it's detecting me putting my hands in front of it. So, what was I saying? Oh yes, so the build seems pretty good. The price you can't really complain about. Yes, it's a cloud camera, but as I've shown you, you can hook it up to a local infrastructure as well. In future videos, I will be looking at hooking this up to send signals to my Node Red for event alerting and things like that for home automation. But I've already shown you that you can easily hook it into BlueIris, which has a ton of features for security cameras and things like that. And it doesn't care what brand you're using. So the price of these is pretty good. The build seems pretty good. Now, the next thing is to have these set up and test them out for a little while in a real application. So one of them I've already got temporarily mounted in the back of my property. I will be putting this one at the front, looking at the pathway coming up to the front of the house, so we can watch them both. They'll be connected via Wi-Fi, and I just got to figure out how to get power to them, that's all. That's the tricky thing when you have to wire power to them. Even if you're using Ethernet, like cabled, even if it was PoE, you would still have to try and get power to them somehow. Getting the 3 megapixel resolution, that's quite an improvement over previous cameras that I've seen, which have been at best a 1080p. And with this one, if I just bring up my backyard camera again, just bring up the web browser for HeimVision, go to screen capture. Okay, so you can see here now, here's the 4 cameras. Here's the one at the bottom. I just moved. Yes, there's a bit of a mess around my desk. But if I go to the backyard camera, you can see that is a pretty good quality picture. I don't know if I've got any nighttime pictures here. The one thing I did find was that if the camera gets any rain spots on the lens, yeah, you can see it here. I'm actually just, let me just bring that up to a, right. This is a recording from last night. That's a, I don't know if it's a bug on the lens or it's a little fly just floating around in front of it. We've got a lot of seeds floating around in the air from things right now, so it could have been one of those. The infrared LEDs are illuminating quite extensively. In fact, you can see on the left here where these tires on these bikes they're highly reflective, and the infrared LEDs are showing that up quite a bit. Oh, we have a little something wandering around the lawn there. So see these spots? I think these are from bits of rain getting onto the lens. You can see here this little critter's coming around. I'm not sure what that is. Might be one of our cats. What time was this? Yeah, 1 o'clock in the morning. It could have been. But it actually looks a weird shape for a cat. So yeah, there can be a few alerts that are triggered. You can tune the alerting with BlueIris. But anyway, this is a nighttime shot. You can see the this is a good 80 to 100 feet from the camera to this bit of structure at the back here. And this is in night vision mode. Ignore the spots. I need to get out there and clean the lens because it got rained on. But then when the spotlight comes on, you can see it does quite a good job of illuminating the backyard. So that's quite impressive for just 2 high-powered LEDs. And that's one of the reasons why it's 12 volts at 1 amp, because when those LEDs come on, that's going to be putting out or sucking up quite a bit of power. Probably when the LEDs are not on, there is not going to be much power consumed by this thing at all. So could you run it with a solar panel? You probably could have a solar panel, but you'd need batteries and a few other things to keep it operating overnight and stuff like that. And soon as it only puts those lights and things on when it's either dark for the infrared or when it detects motion, a battery should last quite well if you're keeping it charged. But that would be up to you to figure out how to do that. If you're looking for low-cost cameras and you want some 3 megapixels, that's around about 2K-ish resolution, then these seem to be a good deal, and they're available through Amazon as well. I'll provide all the links in the description, and for now I'm just going to call this quits because we've had a look at the camera, we've looked at the price, we've looked at the features, and what I'm going to do now is set them up in their respective spots in the house, and I'll make that part of a different video so that we can look at some more real life. I'll also investigate the use of the Ethernet port as well. I couldn't really see much on using that. That was me moving the camera again, triggering an alert straight to my phone. And I'll also see if I can clean up the lens on the one that's at the back there, because that's a bit annoying with those spots. Maybe a little bit of a shield over the top of the lens to keep the rain a bit away from it would be useful. Anyway, that's the first part of these particular cameras looked at. And as I said, we're going to go into some more details of everything in a future video. So we'll see you soon, and look forward to getting you back on the channel soon with other videos on electronics, home security, automation, 3D printing, etc., etc. So we'll see you then. Bye for now.